Symantec.
Keanu Reeves is the best hacker of all time.
Deny. Is that how you say that? Symantec?
That's
Symantec.
Welcome to the Hashtime Show, your weekly source for cyber news and info. This is episode number 4. On today's show, Dave, Chris, and Jeff discuss the Trend Micro Hack and rank the top hacking movies of all time. Check us out online at hashtimeshow.com. And now, on to the show.
All right, guys, welcome back to the show. You've tuned in to the Hashtime Show. We're on episode number 4. My name's Chris Vincent. I'm one of your hosts. Today, we have Dave Norland and Jeff Marshall with me. Once again, guys, we made it to week 4. This is a legitimate thing.
What is it?
It's a thing.
It's definitely a thing.
Do
right?
anything 4 times in a row, it's a thing.
It's a thing. It's a habit, right? That's 12 times, I think. 12 weeks. So anyways, thanks for tuning in, guys. On today's show, we're going to do things a little bit different. This is your source for weekly cybersecurity news. We want to have fun, and we wanted to go in and look at some of the best and worst hacking movies of all time. But for now, we did want to jump in first and hit our news section because we had some breaking news this week, and we want to talk about the Trend Micro hack. And so let me read this headline. Trend Micro admits it was hacked. Symantec denies. Is that how you say that, Symantec?
That's
Symantec.
That's probably our Be Real. That's definitely what we put at the beginning.
Symantec.
Symantec.
I'm leaving this in.
What's Symantec say, Chris?
I'm leaving this in. I'll just look dumb. I don't care. Symantec denies claim of Fxmsp breach. So that's the headline that I stumbled through. The quote is, Trend Micro totally admitted it had suffered unauthorized access to a single testing lab network by a third party. The comment came after New York-based threat intelligence company Advanced Intelligence
You're doing great, man.
claim 3 cybersecurity companies have been penetrated by a Russian hacker group dubbed Fxmsp. So we're going to have a silly news segment this week, guys. So, all right. So all kidding aside, all my lack of being able to pronounce names of companies aside. So Trend Micro, they're a security company, right, guys?
Yeah.
And
One of the big ones.
Are they?
Yeah.
And they were hacked. So tell me about it, guys. Fill me in.
Okay, so first they were hacked, and I believe they initially denied it. The messaging was that there was no customer data that was lost. And then as time went on, I think there started to be a little more transparency, at least on their part. Maybe, I'm not going to speak to whatever their internal incident response procedures are like, and I'm sure they're doing the best they can. But it appears that there was some data leakage or data exfiltration up on the order of, I've seen 40 terabytes, which seems quite enormous to me. And this was apparently out of one of their lab environments. But apparently what's been leaked and what the actor has shown as proof consists of stolen development documentation, and I'm reading from a Gizmodo article, an artificial intelligence model, and an antivirus software base code. And this was posted to a forum, apparently a Russian-speaking forum or something to that effect. So a pretty significant leakage of data, I would say.
Yeah, on Bleeping Computer, they actually have a chat log posted where people are asking the price and who, and they claim McAfee, Symantec, and Trend Micro, but I haven't seen much on the McAfee side.
And then this is apparently for sale for $300,000.
Yeah.
So it was almost like a ransomware thing.
Yeah, really not a steep price to pay if you're a national actor working on behalf of some kind of intelligence agency that wants to get a hold of something that is probably used in thousands of different companies. So
they claim there's source code samples and video recording from the assets.
Yeah, so I think we're going to be talking about this for a long time. It sounds to me like the final word on this is not out. And on this Gizmodo article, there are several updates, in the past couple of days. So there will probably be some kind of debrief on this, and it could be a significant event for that company.
Dave, you brought this up to me, said we got to talk about Trend Micro this week. And I went and did a quick search and I found this infographic on CBR Online, which is a big media syndication source. And this is kind of their repost from Advanced Intel. And this is where they're going. Of course, you have the gray, white, and blue hoodies, which I find to be interesting. Yeah. The Fxmsp syndicate structures and operations. And you have sort of these proxy sellers down here. So are they just trying to kind of show us like what the black market's looking like for this kind of data and this kind of breach? Is that what this is saying?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a model of selling the data that they've been able to get their hands on. And I think they're implying that some of these bigger APTs are going to try to go after this data. I don't really know how they're making these conclusions, but yeah, I mean, the stuff that is leaked is inevitably going to find its way into various exploit campaigns. We saw that with the NSA Eternal Blue leak. That stuff is always weaponized, and as soon as it's available, as soon as it hits the black market, you will see those kinds of exploits integrated into these large-scale campaigns. So, like I said, I think there's going to be a larger report, a larger post-mortem on this in the days to come or weeks to come. You know, it's all about when they want to disclose this information. Probably the sooner the better, I would hope.
Yeah, I mean, those companies are three big companies. They make a lot of security products. So the question is, what's included in there? What products? You know, I find this statistic interesting, but at the RSA conference, we were talking a lot about AV vendors and different endpoint vendors. And, you know, there's over 126 endpoint vendors right now for various different things.
EDR tools, right?
Yeah, for EDR, kind of that edge of EDR, silence. You know, the real question is around AV and when does AV die, and everybody's on next gen AV. So it's definitely interesting, and we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, the thing that boggles my mind is they're saying, I'll correct my earlier statement, they're saying 30 terabytes, which still is just a gigantic amount of data that had to have been obtained over a long period of time. I mean, you would think that people would notice 30 terabytes of data leaving a network.
It's probably just virus samples.
Yeah, it could be, but
it's virus total downloaded.
Yeah, and they did say it's a lab environment, so maybe that's the case, but it's pretty incredible.
Well, perfect. Anything else to add, guys?
No, I just hope we hear some kind of definitive disclosure from Trend Micro going forward, because people use their products. It'd be good to know what's expected for people that are actively using it, and do they need to do anything? Are they releasing some kind of patch or some kind of fix, some kind of release to keep people in the loop? As a vendor, I think they have that responsibility.
Perfect. And I'll call my buddy over at Symantec.
Symantec, yeah.
See
Symantec in here.
It's one of those words you don't say that much, and when you do, you fumble. Well, at least I do. So, all right, guys. All right, so that kind of covers the Trend Micro hack. And all right, let's pop into our next segment of the week. We're going to hash it out, and we're going to rank your top hacking movies. So I'm glad we had that fun little discussion to get us lighthearted about this. So Jeff, Dave, you guys know, for the listeners out there, we had this idea. we kind of tasked ourselves to have to present your top 5 hacking movies, and we had some overlap. And actually Jeff gave us 6, so he didn't follow directions very well. But
I'll explain why, but there's perfectly good reason for that.
So what we want to do, rather than go into detail on who did what, let's go through item by item here. We're going to run through the top 11 we created cumulatively. We're going to talk about them in release date order, going back to 1983. And we're going to talk about the top 11 we had, and then maybe we'll rank them in the end, guys. What do you think?
Sounds good to me.
Sounds good.
All right, cool. Number 1, 1983's WarGames, starring Matthew Broderick, and it has a Rotten Tomatoes score of 93%, Metacritic of 77%, and made $79.6 million at the box office. So we've all seen this, right?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Great movie.
It's classic.
Amazing movie. For those who haven't seen it, it's probably one of the most realistic as far as like hacking movies on the list, right? Would you guys agree?
Yeah, I mean, we've got a pretty crazy range of everything from cyberpunk to borderline science fiction on here. And I would say, weirdly, WarGames is probably the most plausible because of of the era. You know, it's kind of a period piece at this point. It existed in a time where computer security was.
Are you saying the Matrix is not real, Dave?
I mean,
whoa, hold on! Spoiler alert to the list, Jeff.
Depends on who you ask, but yeah, WarGames it has this air of plausibility to it, where you can imagine some kind of teenage kid, really smart, you know, manages to find the right node and hacks into it, and then creates this crazy set of circumstances. But I would also like to point out that this is in 1983, and I'm going to pull my history card here and say that the same year there was an exercise called Reforger in Germany, and that almost started World War III. And coincidentally, this was in the same year. So it's got like the added plausibility to it.
So at the time when it came out, if you were in that space, it probably was like, whoa, they're because obviously they filmed it a few years or a year before.
Yeah. So Reforger, for those who don't know, and probably a lot of people don't know, it was a nuclear exercise undertaken by NATO, and it spooked the Russians because the Russians thought, NATO is preparing for a nuclear strike. So this is kind of the same scenario, but in a fictional setting. So it's pretty interesting, I think.
Interesting. Yeah, I'd never seen this movie until you guys had brought it up. And I went and watched it because I'm a huge Ferris Bueller's Day Off fan. This is around the same era. It's like, I think, Matthew Broderick's movie before that. Yeah. And he totally passes as a high school kind of tech, kind of hacker type character. And that's my thing with some of these movies is I need to buy the super genius, you know, otherwise it falls flat on its face. But I mean, the movie was great. I would say too, like, when you're looking at the hardware they're using, it's all plausible for the time period, right? There's no magic that's going on.
Yeah. Yep. And I as the moment I left my mouth, I realized it was the wrong thing. It was Able Archer, not Reforger. That was the exercise.
Back in 83?
Back in 83, yeah. So Reforger was a yearly exercise, and then Able Archer was the one in 1983 that spooked the Russians. There's movies about it. You can look it up.
Okay. Very cool. So real quick before we leave this one, because I was just curious, I know we're having fun today, but I want to bring it into context, right? Are we doing spoilers on the movie? I mean, that movie's from, 25 plus years ago, so we're doing spoilers, right?
This isn't there might be that game
spoiler, guys. Yeah. So, spoiler alert: he's able to hack into the supercomputer because he social engineers his way in, right? He does some research on the developer and talks to some guys that are develop, infrastructure, and they say usually these developers leave a back door, find everything you want to know, find everything out about him you can from the public information available. He finds out the guy had a son, he lost in a car accident. That son was the password to get in the back door to the mainframe, right? How much should we see this in the real world? This type of thing where it's as simple as that. People are able to get the back door of an application wall.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a metaphor for bad security practices. And yeah, I would say it's also plausible in that regard.
So I have an interesting story on that one. So I went to a conference one time, and it was a non-security conference, but it was more of a privacy conference. And in the booth area, they had a safe, right? And in this safe, they had an iPad or something they were giving away. And I went up to this safe, and I immediately did the thing that I always do and just mash things, right? So I mashed pound 4 times, and the safe pops open. These guys freak out.
Yeah.
And basically I reset the code. And so the guy basically put it back in and said, hey, if you come back later at the end of the conference over the next few days, then I'll give it to you. But we have nothing to show at our booth if I don't do this. And so I agreed. And then I decided I wanted to figure out what the actual code was. So I started talking to the marketing guys there, figuring out who they were, LinkedIning. Sure enough, it was the marketing manager's birthday, and I got into the safe anyway.
So there you go. You're Matthew Broderick, circa 2000, whenever you went to that conference.
And there's also that physical security bit in there where he takes I forget what it is, the tone out of the keypad and is able to replay it back and unlocks himself out of the holding. So.
Oh, yeah. And they do that in Hackers later. Oh, spoiler on the list.
Ruined another movie.
I know. Sorry. Yeah, he does do the tone from the security door, right? He does a little social engineering with that. That's a good point. I forgot about that part. All right, cool. You know what? Real quick, before we leave that movie, I watched this weekend, and there's a part where they go to the island to find the developer, And there's a dinosaur he's flying as and I was like, is this taking some weird prehistoric or some kind of futuristic turn? What's going on? That was a weird part for the movie.
It is a weird part.
Like, for no reason, he has dinosaur collection. He has a remote control one he made. It's never explained.
Why not?
Yeah.
It must have been a part they cut of the movie. It must have been a little subplot they cut out. I don't know. Anyways, all right. All right, number 2, Sneakers, 1992. 78% Rotten Tomatoes. Not available on Metacritic, but made 105.2 million at the box office. So, Jeff, this was your late edition.
I would argue that this is a cult classic. If I didn't put this on there, I would probably be yelled at by somebody in the cybersecurity community or one of my employees.
And I'm just going to get yelled at anyway because I haven't seen it. So
yeah,
I don't even know. So let's watch the trailer.
But my argument, this is the most plausible.
Okay, let's watch the trailer. All right, for those listening, we're going to watch the trailer on the big screen here in the conference room. So let's back up a little bit.
This LTX-71 concealable mic is part of the same system that NASA used when they faked the Apollo moon landings. Work for them. Shouldn't give us any
I
problems.
thought that sounded like Dan.
Dan Aykroyd.
We did enter. How are we doing?
I was in position on the fire escape. Mother's in a cable vault.
Going to
Robert Redford, too. Is that who that is?
We're getting too old for this. They know your secrets. But they're
Sidney
not
Poitier?
spies. Gotta be there somewhere.
Mr. Bishop, do you mind if I take a look?
So people
Wow.
hire you to break into
I'm on board now.
places to make sure no one can break into their places. Not a very good one.
Now they've got a new client.
National Security Agency. I don't work for the government.
Relax, Marty. It's just everybody on your team has had some sort of problem in their past.
No, you say the NSA killed Kennedy.
No, they shot him, but they didn't kill him. He's still alive.
They may not want the job.
Liz, I need your help.
I will not be dragged back into your world.
But they don't have a choice.
We don't want to boss you. We want to hire you.
We're the good guys, Marty.
Can't tell you what a relief that is. Dick.
Your job is to find that little black box.
You got it.
Holy cow. What the hell is that?
The virtual boy? What is that? What he's got in his head?
Oh my god.
How is this possible?
Oh my God, it's cybers.
Oh, what's his name? Ben Kingsley's in this too.
Yeah.
So this is an all-star cast.
I can't believe you guys haven't seen this.
No.
So what's the code right here? No.
Was that River? What's
River Phoenix.
River Phoenix. Yeah.
Yes.
Stations. Do you have the item?
Can you guarantee my safety?
Where is the item?
Can you guarantee my safety?
Marty, you've got trouble.
Here, maybe this might help. No buddy of mine was in Desert Storm side too. Of course, was on the other side.
Now give me a box, Marty!
Let me not do it, marksman. Woman.
This is like Ocean's 11 before Ocean's 11, right?
Yeah.
Hang on, Trish. I got it. Almost got up.
Oh my goodness.
Great movie.
From the director of Field of Dreams. If someone doesn't walk out of a cornfield in this movie, I'm going to be really disappointed.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone's walking out of a cornfield. So, all right, Jeff, this movie's amazing is what you're saying.
Oh yeah, you guys. If you have not seen this, you guys need to go watch Sneakers.
Okay.
Fantastic movie. You know, they're essentially trying to find a black box for these guys who claim they're NSA, but they're like rogue agents, and you know, it's all plausible stuff.
It's got a very Ocean's 11 feel.
Yeah.
I feel like the producers of Ocean's 11 with the George Clooney version watched this before they rebooted it.
Probably. It's in that same vein. All right, cool. Well, since Jeff is the only one on that list, we have no more to make fun of in that movie. And we'll have to wait until we've seen it and do part 2.
There you go.
But for number 3 on our list, we have the all-iconic Hackers. 1995. 33% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Well deserved.
46% Metacritic.
It's hurtful.
7.5 at the box office. I believe this movie lost money.
Yeah, it did.
This movie came out. I was maybe 12. And I remember this sticks out of my mind as the all-time hacking movie. But I watched it recently again, and it's absolutely ridiculous and terrible.
It does not hold up.
At all. Not in any way.
You guys are hurting my feelings.
I know.
It's like people who wanted to make a movie about something they didn't understand,
Yes.
cast people to play roles about something they didn't
I
understand.
just wish viruses were little pictures that ran around your screen like that.
Yeah.
That'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like that's a really good way you're putting it, Dave, because they don't understand it at all. It's almost like the way they characterize things they don't understand. They don't bring any subject matter experts in to help, you know, like obviously movies like WarGames, they had someone come in and make it plausible.
Mm-hmm.
And almost nothing in this movie is plausible.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. It's probably the worst movie ever, Jeff.
Oh my gosh.
I wouldn't go that far.
No, it's not awful. It does have a lot of quotable moments, and
Yeah,
it's kind of what brought the whole hacker thing to life for a lot of people. So it's definitely an iconic movie. You can argue the level of greatness that the movie is, but it's definitely iconic.
Well, I think for as implausible as there's a point in the movie where I forget the main guy's name, but he's fighting with the Angelina Jolie character, Acid Burn and Zero Cool. They're fighting over like the TV station, and the actual robotic arms are fighting, you know, which is totally fake.
Yeah.
But so that some of that stuff's kind of ridiculous, and the fact that they're wearing post-apocalyptic garb that's sort of like Nine Inch Nails meets Prodigy, and everyone else is wearing regular clothes from the era.
Yeah,
it's kind of odd. So, and they're all rollerblade. Every hacker rollerblades apparently, which is interesting.
Yeah,
but some of the stuff with the tracking and the corrupt like CISO, you know, in the other organization who also is like a cool hacker guy, you know. Some of that's sort of plausible though, right? Like an internal mole in the organization. I mean, or maybe tell me. I mean, could someone do that and they say, hey, they can set up a virus and steal some money and then blame it on Anonymous or a group of outsiders? Does this happen in the real world?
You could, I guess. Yeah.
Now that we know it, right?
As long as you got a Gibson, you're good.
All right, we could talk about hackers for the whole show, so we better move on to the next one. All right, number 4 on our list, also released in 1995, Johnny Mnemonic. 13% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I can't believe that.
Not even available on Metacritic, but did make $52.4 million at the box office. So,
which was above its budget.
This was a Keanu Reeves movie that I believe I wasn't allowed to see at the time. I was too young. I don't know how I got to see Hackers, but didn't get to see this one. But I saw it later, but I had zero recollection of it.
Johnny Mnemonic is in my top 5 greatest movies. I don't care what the Rotten Tomatoes says.
I have not seen this.
Oh, you haven't either? Okay,
no,
since I have no recollection, and since Dave hasn't seen it, we got to pull up the Johnny Mnemonic trailer real quick. We'll pull up the shorter one. We'll pull up the 5-minute one.
Is this a Matrix prequel?
I guess technically you could say that.
Okay, here's the official.
The premise is he's got an implant in his head that's basically like a hard drive.
Right.
And he's got to get the data out before he dies.
Okay. It's plausible, at least.
I missed that TriStar horse.
2021. It is no longer safe to transmit information. Phones, computers, and satellites are all vulnerable. But there is a solution. Your storage capacity?
I can carry nearly 80 gigs of data in my head.
That's it.
Johnny Mnemonic. Hit me.
Oh my god, this is a Matrix prequel.
Yeah.
How do you feel like
I never really put 2 and 2 together, but I guess, yeah.
you had to dump a chunk of what?
Keanu Reeves is the greatest hacker of all time.
Yeah. This explains so much.
What are you doing?
Making a long distance phone call.
Hell yeah.
See, the virtual reality in this is great.
In the future,
You locked on him.
where those who control the information control the world.
Well, that is true.
With recovering the head of the mnemonic courier.
Everyone wants what is stored in Johnny's head.
Double cheese anchovies.
And you're waiting for me, Ralphie. Time is running out.
I'm a dead man if I don't get this out of my head.
I can get it out.
How?
The cranial drill in the pit.
Henry Rollins as the Doctor.
Most wanted fugitive.
If you can't tell, I love low budget movies.
Yeah, this is Waterworld meets The Matrix meets the 90s.
Keanu Reeves.
You can't shoot me.
Not in there. Johnny Mnemonic.
I don't know what I just watched.
Now listen, there's one thing that I definitely have to admit.
Oh, this was a William Gibson? This
Yeah.
was written by William Gibson, no kidding.
Yeah, this is a great book.
Wow.
I do miss the movie guy that was like, in a world.
Yeah.
I do miss that guy. I realized that so far. That's for sure.
world where Keanu's brain is a computer.
That might be the worst movie on our list. I haven't even been to the list yet.
Come on,
I don't even
guys.
need to see it to tell you that.
Now I have to watch it. That is outrageous. People out there, our listeners are screaming at us.
Also,
right now.
this has Dolph Lundgren in it, and he was nowhere in that trailer.
Yeah, he was in the trailer.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
As what?
I don't remember, but he was in it.
What special effect was Dolph Lundgren?
He's a giant Jack Russian guy. How does he not see him? That's hilarious. Okay. All right. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Number 5. I should have put numbers maybe. I would have helped, right?
Yeah.
Instead of guessing. The Net.
So I gotta say, this is number 6 of mine. But when this movie came out, I had the largest crush on Sandra Bullock. There was no way I could not include this movie in the list.
Include it in there, yeah. Okay, so The Net, 1995. Obviously a Sandra Bullock vehicle. This is probably a little bit around Speed,
That's
right?
the way to put it.
Yeah,
It's a vehicle for Sandra Bullock to be on screen.
Didn't Speed come out in the early 90s? This is around Speed. This is probably tailgating off of the success of Speed. Okay, 1995. Rotten Tomatoes 38%, 51% Metacritic, did 110 at the box office.
That was pretty good.
Okay, perfect. Once again, though, Dave, you haven't seen it.
I have not seen it.
There's a lot of modem dialing sounds in this movie.
All right, so we're going to have to watch the trailer.
All of the other ones I've seen after this, but unfortunately we're kind of on a string of ones I have not seen.
So let's check this one out. It's got a very cool 90s looking.
Listen to that keyboard clicking.
We all live in the age of information.
Pizza.net. Did you see that? There's a domain named Pizza.net.
We can think about it as well.
We're gonna hook up my mom.
Every trace of our
All she cares about was she hooked up her modem on the beach.
Yep.
everything about us is encoded somewhere.
Oh my God.
IP addresses.
These IP addresses.
Computers your life, aren't they?
Yes. Perfect hiding place.
Computer analyst Angela Bennett was just doing her job when she stumbled onto something.
What's this?
Because, all software has a little icon in the bottom right corner that takes you to a government website.
It has unauthorized access flashing and red at you.
How long will it take to track it?
Depends on how long you stay online.
Something.
They had a packet analyzer tracing a call.
Yeah.
That was great.
They hacked into computers and it caused this chaos. Wall Street.
The market panic as officials suspended trading.
The Department of Water and Power in Atlanta. LAX.
We've lost radar contact.
Plane just explodes.
You can make it reality when you choose.
According to the Department of Motor Vehicles, you're smart.
Oh, the DMV, the biggest of targets.
Information and my fingerprints? I don't understand. What do you mean?
Infiltrating her life.
Whoever she's been speaking to.
No, he was not a diabetic.
And erasing her identity.
We got an outstanding warrant for Rose Marks on federal charges.
I am Angela Bennett. Just give us the disc and we'll give you your life back.
She has the evidence.
She's got me the disc.
The plot thickens.
The power. This summer, Sandra Bullock is caught in the net.
How could you pass this up?
That was like Gravity, but in cyberspace.
I do sort of want to see that now. I don't know why, for some reason.
Because it's Sandra Bullock.
Okay.
It just keeps coming back to it.
All right. Next on the list, number 6, Ghost in the Shell. Now, this is the original from 1996, which has a 96% on Rotten Tomatoes, 76% Metacritic, 42 million box office. So, Dave, I know you added this one on. This is not the Scarlett Johansson recent one. This is the original from back in the day.
And we've been kind of making fun of every one of these. And I suppose you could make fun of Ghost in the Shell, the original, but I will say it's much more of a serious, dramatic movie. It's very artistic. I am not really a big anime guy at all. This was actually the first anime I ever saw, but it left a pretty big impression. It's very well regarded, and it's definitely like a cyberpunk hacking sort of movie. I mean, people themselves are literally getting hacked. So
that's crazy. So this is the highest Rotten Tomatoes on the list.
Yeah,
by far.
Yeah, it's a great movie, and it's not too long. It is kind of on the adult side, so I don't know if I'd watch it with children, but it's definitely a mature thinking sort of movie.
Can we watch the trailer, or will we would be in trouble.
No, it shouldn't be a problem to watch the trailer.
Because I accidentally tried to go to a What Would Tyler Durden Do last night to see what they were doing, and ADT blocked me. They didn't like that, so.
Yeah, no, there's only a couple scenes that might be a little questionable, but yeah, it's a great movie.
Let's watch this.
And the remake, people made a big stink about it. I love the original, and I think the remake was fine as well, but it's nothing like on the level of the original.
All right, let's watch this one. Let's watch the 2-minute.
Yeah, that ought to be a good one.
使いって正体不明のハッカーが警察だ
You guys get that?
プロジェクト2501人形使い計画確かめてみるさ自分のゴーストだ
Yeah, a very iconic soundtrack as well. Yeah,
that's cool. So is it subtitled or is it dubbed?
Well, the English version is dubbed. To provide a little bit of background here, it's about this cybernetic person who works for this private intelligence agency, and she is hired to go track down this super hacker who basically hacks into the administrative assistant for another competing company.
Okay.
And then in doing so, I won't spoil it, but there's a whole bunch of transfer of consciousness in various places, and it is basically kind of a detective story, and it's a larger tale about what is consciousness, but it's definitely a cyberpunk hacking sort of movie.
That's cool. All right. That's on my list. These last 3 are on my list of ones I got to catch, but not the next one. Number 7 on the list, The Matrix, 1999. 88% Rotten Tomatoes.
Whoa.
73% Metacritic. And this
Keanu Reeves is the greatest hacker of all time. I'm going to say it over and over again.
Until it becomes the butt. Yeah. 463.5 million at the box office. By far the most highest grossing movie on our list. And so Dave, you and I both had this on our list. When I talked to Rendell about it in the office, he was arguing it's not a hacking movie. But it's sort of...
It literally starts with hacking. I don't know how much more of a hacking movie...
That's literally how they recruit him to become set free. So if anybody listening to this has not seen The Matrix, I would be...
Then shut this off and go watch
The Matrix. Yeah. Dave, you and I are huge fans. Jeff, what about you? It wasn't on your list of top 5, but you obviously...
It's not in my top 5 because I like low-budget B movies, but it's a great...
Are you saying The Matrix is not a low-budget B movie?
It made $500 million, so probably not.
This is one of those movies too where I watch this probably once every couple of years, so I didn't have to rewatch this. And they were just on that cusp of having because some of the movies from the mid 90s just don't hang up because the CGI is just so bad. Yeah. And this is just there where you can still watch it today.
The bigger question is, what's your feelings of the other ones?
That's what the discussion should be about.
Yeah. I would say I unironically like the second one. I think it raises some interesting questions, and some of the action scenes are amazing. But yeah,
that's with the 2 twin guys in number 2, right?
Yeah, that whole highway chase is pretty incredible. And a lot of it was actually shot on camera.
Was it shot in Vegas too, on that freeway system in Vegas?
I can't remember where they shot it, but there's a lot of CGI in there. But there's a big chunk of it that is actually being filmed
live
action. Yeah. But the third one, I like it just because it's a continuation of the story, but plot-wise, I still don't even understand it fully. I think it goes off the rails a little bit in the third one.
That's where the one where they set out, they're in Zion, and they're all having this weird dance party. That's that one, right?
No, so the dance party's in the second one.
Is that the second one? Okay.
Yeah. But the third one is they're trying to fight the robots. Spoilers, they do make it to Zion, and it's just a fiasco, and I don't know.
That's when Neo has magic, right? That's when magic comes.
Yeah, he basically gets magic. He starts to communicate with the Matrix while being in the real world. And I don't know. It just bleeds over a little bit too much. But.
And the first one had a great soundtrack. Remember the end of that had Rage Against the Machine?
That Club to Death song when they're first walking around in the Matrix, I think is kind of an iconic hacker theme. It's comes up quite a bit. So.
Yeah. Well, the Matrix we talk about forever. That movie's amazing. It's definitely on here. Okay. Swordfish, 2001, the next movie on our list. 26% Rotten Tomatoes, 32% Metacritic, 147.1 million at the box office. I saw this movie in the theaters. I was a senior in high school. John Travolta's hair is outrageous in this movie. Hugh Jackman. We all remember the initial scene with Hugh Jackman where he's hacking.
Yeah.
NSFW.
Probably one of the best hacking scenes ever.
It's amazing.
Hugh Jackman gesticulating in front of a computer. I'd watch that all day.
Yeah. I find it funny too, where the he goes to that computer and has like 7 monitors on arms, and everybody's like, whoa. Yeah. Now we have 8 monitors and the sock and TVs everywhere and screens. I mean, it's funny how way back then it was such a big deal. In 01, it was I had a computer back then, but it was 1 monitor. So if you have more than 1 monitor, it was insane. Yeah, we give everybody here gets at least 2, right? If not 3. Yeah, that was the big deal. Remember when he had the lean back chair where he was they're all around him, that was somehow going to make him hack better.
Yeah, they make a big deal about how his setup is going to give him the edge. It's just more hardware.
Well, isn't that there was some TV show, I think it was NCIS, where they split the keyboard and 2 people did do 2 different.
Yeah, so I have a blog article that I had written about that the iconic GIF where they're both on one side of the keyboard each, and it's I don't understand that one.
That comes back to the earlier thing we were talking about with Hollywood people not really knowing about this, and they make it like a brute force thing, right? So in hackers, they're fighting, and they think but really, hacking just comes down to being slick and thinking through things strategically, right?
Yeah. So much of successful hacking is like this thing that happens at 3 a.m. that people discover, later than they would like. And this is very real time and actiony, and I don't know. It's a bad.
A real good movie.
It's a bad movie.
It's a bad movie. We've all seen it yet.
Halle Berry will say does not salvage this movie.
No.
So pretty much anything under 40% on this list is my favorite movies.
Swordfish did make it on my list because I remember John Travolta's hair, and just at that time he was starting to go off the rails. He had done Face Off, and then he did a couple bad movies, and he did this one, and he had that goatee and that blonde stripe in his hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was ridiculous. Okay. Next movie on the list, number 9, AntiTrust, 2001 as well. 24% on Rotten Tomatoes, 31% Metacritic, 18.2 million only at the box office.
Speaking of which, this is my favorite movie on the list.
Yeah, so this one I will kind of agree with you. I did rewatch this one recently to catch up and prepare, and the whole onboarding sequence when he's coming into the company and Tim Robbins' performance, it's actually really believable.
Yeah.
This is probably the most believable movie on the list. This and WarGames.
My favorite of the entire movie is when he is at Gary Winston, Tim Robbins' house, and he's talking about, the company said, oh, it's kind of like Microsoft, and he says...
They do the nod of themselves?
Yeah. He says, Bill who?
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched this weekend, so it's that picture that changes, and he goes, Bill Gates has one of those, and it's like a Bill who thing, that's hilarious.
There's something about Microsoft being, they're very, very primitive and slow or something.
It's definitely a wink and nod to itself, because obviously he's trying to do...
Sure.
Whoever hasn't seen this movie, go watch it if you can. I think there's a free stream on YouTube actually of this movie.
It's a great movie. I don't care what anybody says or Rotten Tomatoes score. It's my favorite movie.
Tim Robbins plays the Bill Gates character. Ryan Felipe plays and I buy Ryan Felipe as the Stanford genius. I buy it.
He pulls it off
pretty well.
Yeah.
And let's not spoil this one because there's actually a couple of little twists and turns in this one that are good. But yeah, this one to me, all the hacking interfaces are legit. It's all DOS based stuff. There's some social engineering in this. I'm good. I don't think the scores are fair on this one. I think this one should be in that 60s or 70s at least. All right, number 10.
Glad you agree.
Number 10 on the list, Live Free or Die Hard, 2007. This is number 4 or 5 in the Die Hard series.
I've lost track at this point.
Number 1's great.
It's also not believable.
No, not at all. 82% though on Rotten Tomatoes, 69% Metacritic, 383.5 million. Number 2 on the list for the revenue generated.
I'm not convinced that Bruce Willis knows what a computer is.
Definitely not. But the way they get around this made my list because I remember seeing this in the theaters and I liked it a lot. they had the Justin Long character as the hacker type character.
Right.
And then Timothy Olyphant totally plays it as like I think he used to work for like NSA in the movie or something. I haven't watched it in a while, but I know well enough. So to me, I think this one made my top 5 easily because to me it was believable, and I love it.
Too high for my list.
Too high for your list. Okay.
I'm just kind of ambivalent toward it. I don't remember it as being a hacking movie, even though I watched it. The hacking aspect of it, I feel like did not play a big role in how I remember it.
Well, there's the whole fire sale thing, right? That's the whole.
Right.
That's the core crux of the plot. Is that he hacks into the mainframe and turns off the water. All right, cool. Number 11, the last one on our list, the most recent movie. This is a Michael Mann. So I put this on here because I love Michael Mann movies. He did Heat and Collateral and a bunch of other ones. And he did Blackhat in 2015. But it's a 33% on Rotten Tomatoes, 51% Metacritic, only made $19.7 million at the box office. Have you guys both seen this movie?
I've not, no.
You haven't?
No.
I like this movie.
Let's watch the trailer real quick.
Again, 33% Rotten Tomatoes. Of course I like it.
It is, just to tee it up, Chris Hemsworth, a.k.a. Thor, plays an MIT genius hacker.
I'll buy that.
That's the one big flaw in this movie.
Hey, everybody's got to take a break. Got to indulge in your passions.
This is a modern trailer. The other ones, the ones from the 90s we watched, it's totally
you can definitely tell the production value is ramped up.
Oh yeah, this is ridiculous. I love this. Legendary.
Some hacker is hitting our financial markets.
4 major banks, and that's just what we know about?
If we want clues to the hacker's identity, we need a man named Hathaway. What do we know about this guy? He's a convicted hacker serving 15 years.
Just got out of prison. He just got out of prison. He's wearing makeup. You know what I mean? Makes sense.
And the apprehension of the guy you're after. Those are the terms. Is he political? Terrorist attack, any declaration?
The guy we're working will drop the big hammer and not think twice about it.
He dropped the big hammer? Was that
He's on the move again.
No, Simon.
This is only the beginning. He's still writing War 4. Real hit is still to come.
Get discovered, you're dead meat.
He also knows jiu-jitsu, and he's a Muay Thai fighter.
Most people in cybersecurity do know that.
Yeah.
This isn't about politics. I can target anyone.
Somehow they always get the girl.
Always. Anywhere.
There it is, folks.
I think it's a pretty accurate depiction of what my everyday life is like.
Just battling people in foreign lands with guns.
Absolutely.
So I have a couple big problems with this. Chris Hemsworth being the main guy. They could have picked someone not so tall and jacked. That's one thing. It's a ridiculous premise overall. But
Like what, Matt Damon?
That's true. Good call. But from a movie standpoint, it was going nowhere fast, and then Michael Mann threw in some crazy twists and some real graphic stuff. And so from a movie standpoint, it's worth watching.
Okay.
But
No.
I couldn't put it as anywhere number one on the
I mean,
list.
I'll say it does look interesting. I would probably watch this voluntarily.
Okay, then I won't spoil it for you.
Yeah. Okay.
No spoilers.
Thanks.
All right, cool. We've reached the end of our list, guys. Number 11. So I was going to rank 1 through 10, but I think that's crazy. Should we just do the top 3, top 5? What do you guys think?
Or just each of our top movie?
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
That'll give us our top 3. So everyone out of the list, What's your favorite? Jeff, I'll start with you. What's number one for you? What's the best hacking movie of all time?
AntiTrust is my favorite movie on the list.
Okay.
I think just because I felt like it was on another level completely, I would probably have to say Ghost in the Shell because it's such a good movie. And it has a larger, a larger message. I think it's just really interesting. So it's a piece of art.
So I was going to say The Matrix, but it's kind of cheating because it's already one of the best movies ever created. So I'm going to go WarGames. Even though it wasn't on my initial list, I've watched it. And I'm going to go WarGames. I appreciated it. It kept me, although if you read the synopsis for WarGames, it's totally incorrect. So you just got to go watch the movie.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So AntiTrust, WarGames, Ghost in the Shell. Top 3 hacking movies of all time.
Sneakers is a very, very close runner-up in my mind. You guys got to watch it.
Sneakers and The Matrix. Maybe rounding it out at 4 and 5.
Honorable mention.
All right. There you have it, guys. There are your top 5 hacking movies of all time. Directly here from the Hashtime Show. And that's all we have for this week, guys. This has been Chris, Dave, and Jeff. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to the Hashtime Show. Check us out online at hashtimeshow.com.